Disclaimer: this journal reflects my personal trading activity and operator reflections. It is not financial advice. Episode 10, Revisiting Coinbase, a different experience. Today's exploration brought me back to a platform I actually first encountered several years ago. Back in 2017, during the earlier wave of cryptocurrency interest, I opened an account on Coinbase and bought a small amount of Bitcoin. At that time, the ecosystem was still in a very early stage. The platform worked, but the overall user experience was not nearly as developed as what we see today. After a few months, I ended up selling the Bitcoin and eventually left the platform. At the time, digital assets were still very experimental, and the infrastructure around them felt somewhat limited. Fast forward to today, and the experience feels very different. As part of my current exploration into digital asset infrastructure, I decided to revisit Coinbase to see how the platform operates today. The first thing that stood out immediately was the onboarding process. Setting up the account and completing the identity verification was surprisingly fast. Within just a few minutes, the account was ready to use. Compared to my earlier experience years ago, the setup process now feels far more streamlined and efficient. From a user interface perspective, the Coinbase web platform feels very intuitive. The layout is clean, navigation straightforward, and the structure actually feels closer to traditional brokerage platforms. For someone like me who spends most of their time working within equity markets and structured trading systems, that familiarity makes the platform easy to understand. Overall, based on my experience, Coinbase appears relatively easy to use for individuals who are simply learning about or investing in cryptocurrency. One reason is the web interface. The platform layout feels clear, structured, and easy to navigate, which makes the process of buying, holding, and exploring features like staking more approachable. For someone who is already familiar with traditional brokerage platforms, the Coinbase web interface feels somewhat similar in structure, which can make the learning curve a bit smoother when entering the digital asset space. Another practical advantage is record keeping. Cryptocurrency transactions can become complex from a tax perspective, especially when assets move across different wallets or platforms. However, as long as the assets remain within the Coinbase platform, the system keeps a detailed record of transactions, including purchases, transfers, and rewards. This centralized record can make it easier to track activity and generate report later when reviewing transactions for tax purposes. After completing the setup, I ran a small test deposit to observe how the funding process works. Once the funds became available, I executed 2 small purchases, one in Ethereum and one in Bitcoin, simply to observe the transaction flow. The buying process was smooth and clearly guided. The platform provided immediate confirmation on screen, along with notifications inside the account and email confirmations. That layered confirmation process creates a clear record of the transaction. I also explored the staking feature available for Ethereum. Staking allows asset holders to participate in securing the Ethereum network while earning rewards from the protocol. The interface explains the process clearly, including the estimated reward rate and how the asset participates in the network. I decided to stake the small amount of Ethereum I purchased, and the platform confirmed that the asset is now participating in the network and earning rewards. What stood out most today was how much the user experience has matured since my first interaction with the platform in 2017. While the underlying technology behind digital assets can still be complex, the interface presented to users has become far more accessible. And as with every step in this exploration series, today's activity wasn't about making a long-term investment decision. It was about understanding how the infrastructure works. Because before capital moves, understanding must come first. And in every market, knowledge should always come before allocation.